Me.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to Littleport Christian Spiritualist. Now, of course, we're a spiritualist church, so we're bound to have a bit of glitching, a bit of wonk, a bit of madness, a bit of woo, and a bit of wah. But that's life, and that's certainly what it comes to when you're playing music in a spiritualist church. Anyone who's ever been to Littleport will know that we have musical technical difficulties, but that's life, as I say. But friends, welcome. This is Littleport. This is spiritualism. This is Thursday night. So without further ado, let us welcome our guest, our friend, and our medium for tonight. Online, live from Littleport, via the internet and everywhere else in the universe we might be watched right now. Give it up for Shelly. Youell.
Hi, Nick. Hi, everyone.
Hello, my sweet. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fantabulous. You're looking well. How's life treating you since we last spoke?
It's good. Yeah, it's good. Keeping myself busy, so it's been great.
Did you finish that painting?
Which one?
The one that was on the easel the last time you saw. You probably have then.
I have finished that one. Oh yes, that one. Yeah, I finished that one.
You remember now. Bless you.
Yeah, I know which one. So yeah, no, I've been busy. There's plenty to do, so keep me on my toes.
That's the main thing. Well, thank you for coming back.
You're welcome.
With the new look and the new software, I hope you noticed that you're in our intro. Nice little picture. We try and keep it as up to date as possible. I think that the spirit world were telling me with the jumping that I need to add some more pictures, which is quite likely. They're probably getting bored of the same ones and want a bit of a change. So I shall get onto that in the week. But once again, thank you for coming along. We're really looking forward to tonight. Bound to be a good night amongst friends, upliftment and spirit. So let us open in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship, and to witness the truth that life is eternal, and the proof that we are able to see that for ourselves through the use of mediumistic abilities. And so as I place this evening and this service in your care and keeping, Great Spirit, we make the statement as ever, that everything we do will be in the name of love, in the name of truth, and in the name of light. Amen. Well, so we have got a lovely lady in a shade of purple sitting in the wings with her new camera. We have had more than the occasional slight technical glitch this afternoon. We're hoping that it won't be too echoey, but I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, So I have 6 people sitting downstairs ready to come and talk to us. So let's have one of them up, shall we? She is the principal minister of the New Christian Spiritualist Society and a very good friend of mine. Please welcome Rev Lynn.
Good evening. Good evening, Shelley. Good evening, Reverend Nick.
Thank you for joining us.
It's a lovely experience, isn't it, really? I mean, I think that spiritualism has had a major boost in the midst of all this despair and desperation, because we have actually been there in the forefront, keeping everybody positive, giving everybody wonderful messages of comfort, you know, not just from people down here, but from people in the spirit world who love them. And I think that is a magnificent job that we're all doing, and that you, Nick, and you, Shelley, are in the forefront of that. You're in the vanguard. This is a new deal for all of us. I think that spiritualism itself has had a major boost. And they do say that all progress is made on the back of funerals, I'm afraid. That's an old saying. And, you know, as much as everything has been so dreadful for so many people, that actually out of all of that, you know, terrible desolation rises the phoenix that is spiritualism. And, you know, we always triumph whenever, you know, whenever difficult times are upon us as a human race. We were wonderful during the First World War, the Second World War, and, you know, now I think a lot of people have sort of likened this to those, you know, wartime days of privation and difficulty. And again, spiritualism has answered that call. And I think, you know, that we should actually, you know, get some good positive vibes out of that, to know that we are doing our best and we're doing so much good for everybody, and we're spreading our truth. You know, everybody says there's, you know, there are lots of pathways to the one truth, and I think that our pathway is a good one. And because we can actually prove what we say, there is eternal life, and we can prove that there is communion and communication between the next world, to which we all will progress eventually, and this one where we are all in now. And in whatever state we're in and whatever condition and situation, we know that it can be relieved and comforted by the message of spiritualism, that you cannot die for the life of you, as Doris Stokes used to say. On that note, I'll say God bless to you all. And of course, on behalf of everybody at the New Christian Spiritualist Society, welcome.
Thank you, Lynn, and well done for rattling through by way of preventing too much feedback from me. It's so long as I don't speak, you're fine. Which I think is probably what everyone would say. So long as I don't speak, everyone's fine. But really, really good to have you back on, Lynn. Thank you for coming on, and we'll keep you downstairs for a little bit later on.
Where I belong, I think, downstairs. Yes.
In a cyber way, not a spiritual one, of course.
Oh, of course, of course.
Bless you.
Behind the scenes.
Thank you. Behind, oh, as ever.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, my love. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Well, that was a way of getting around it. Nick shuts up, and, you know, interestingly enough, remembering my time from Circa with Lynn, things usually went a lot quicker if we all shut up and let her talk anyway. So I think that might be a bit of a message for me, don't you reckon? But moving, she's laughing. I will just say she is laughing her head off to that one, because I can still see her. So moving swiftly on, my friends, it's I don't think I really need to do any sort of philosophy right now. I may do in a bit, but I think Lynn's pretty much covered that side of what I would have said anyway. Must be psychic, eh, Shelley?
Yes, must be.
But so we're now going to invite Reverend Allen up to give his reading. I can see him staring down the camera, ready to come and give us a bit of a reading. So, ladies and gentlemen and friends, welcome, Reverend Victor Meldrew. I mean, Reverend Alan Sutton. Good evening, mate.
Evening, Nick. Evening, Shelley. Evening, all.
Alan.
This evening's reading is another one by Alison Stormwalt, stolen off the internet as normal. And it's called A Dialogue with Spirit. I asked myself in the darkness, why do I live? A voice replied, it was your choice. How can that be? I would have chosen very differently to this. You had the chance, you chose this. Surely once chosen and the lessons I've learnt, I can cross the road and walk in another direction. No, you cannot. We have more to do than cater to the whims of human nature. But I haven't learnt my lesson. I can change. Then do so, but within this lifespan. The sun rises, the sun sets. Your soul rises, your soul sets. This time is not linear as you see it. We grieve with you in your suffering. I can't see this. But rejoice in the advancement of your soul.
Yes.
Close to your physical eyes, open your spiritual perception. Your sorrows and challenges are your gift from the Spirit. Do not withdraw and curse them. Embrace humanity, your pain, and live. Enter the tornado and find the center of calm. Confront your shadow side and welcome it into a whole being that you have created. Drive deeply into your torment till the coldness and the blackness and the host of horrors almost stops your heart and you cannot see the exit sign. Then accept it as part of yourself. Open your door and welcome home your prodigal son, the one you sent away many years ago because he did not fit in to your immature and limited thinking. You embrace the suffering of the human condition, and in doing so, nothing more can scare you. Become whole again. Fragmentation is not our way. The underprivileged black man, it's you, as is the infested tramp, or the urine-soaked wino behind a garbage bin. We share the web in different disguises. When you cry, we suffer. Murder is a loss to all, regardless of colour or creed. Then I answered, take me in your arms and wrap me, and I will cry out with a loud voice that will shake the mountains and echo over the plains till my body is exhausted and my arms are bruised. For all the injustices done to man and animals, past, present, and future. It may not bring them back, restore their dignity, but the love behind the action, the intention of my heart, may make the stones weep, or the hunter lay down his spear. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Now, it's funny, really, because Spirit told me to just shut up. And of course, much of what was in that reading did tie in, certainly in the beginning part, with what Lynn was saying about this way of life moving forward, about growth, upliftment, but also about, you know, bringing joy to the world. Because I think that's what sets us apart as spiritualists, the ability to bring love and upliftment as well as words of caution. So thank you for that, Alan. It's always a pleasure. I do believe that both yourself and Penny were put into the raffle this week, so do stay online.
Okay.
We will speak to you soon, because we've got 3 minutes left until we do the applauding of key workers and NHS. So I will rotate amongst you all.
Yeah.
We will definitely make a din if I bring Lynn on. So I'll bring Lynn on, and we can make a loud noise. In fact, there is a biblical verse there: make a loud noise and be joyful. So so speak to you soon, guys.
Okay, see you later.
He's gone already, bless him. He's off to put the kettle on. He's off to put the kettle on. Well, of course, now is the time, obviously, when we do get ready to do the healing. There we go. Split the screen between us, my love. You know, get rid of all the gump behind us, distractions. So I would like to, you know, sum up and add to, and I'm sure when you come to your bit, Shelley, you always add some wonderful spiritually uplifting words, which we always look forward to. And you know, I'm quite frequently, in fact I had a conversation with someone today. I've got to give a big shout out to my new friend Doreen, who I asked if she'd like a reading. She said, well, I'd like to watch if that's allowed first. And I said, there she is, she's just commented. I think the jumping about is to do with the heat, my love. But we were talking earlier and I said, you know what, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. In this way of life, and certainly on my watch, people are able to do as much or as little as they want. And you always tend to find that if people are invited to understand and accept that wonderful gift of free will, the world is a better place. And it does frustrate me when people think that we're going to tell them what they've got to do and say and think. Our way of life is all about acceptance and understanding and allowing yourself to be able to have a voice. So that is why I love spiritualism. And it was lovely to chat to you, Doreen. Hopefully we'll grab you on the feed next week. It's a bit colder next week, so the feed won't be so jumpy. So we are now about to have our healing silence, followed by the applaud to the NHS. So everybody join together, send out your healing thoughts. As we say, great spirits, here we bring unto you all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them. This we ask for those we know, those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Amen. Well, friends, it's 8 o'clock. Get clapping. Let's get everyone up. We'll get ready for some major feedback. Here she comes. Let's make a noise. So it's about to get worse.
I'm just going to go.
You know, I have to say to the people at home watching, I swear there's more people join every week. It's absolutely brilliant. And I don't know if you can hear, but my neighbours over the road bring out the pots and the pans and the wooden spoons. It's brilliant. I'll ask for next week, see if I'm allowed to show them. Hey, everyone's coming back. Look at that. Better plug it in. Right. Let us prepare the stage, as they say. Thank you for everyone for coming on up. Oh, I'm missing someone. There, she's back. Wrong button. Hello, sweetie. Well, you know, I have to say, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but when all this began and it was suggested that everyone go out and applaud the NHS on a Thursday night, my concern was that there wouldn't be much uptake, that it wouldn't last. Give it a couple of weeks, everyone would get bored and tired of it and not get involved. But it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just absolutely brilliant. And I will say, right from the get-go, when everyone was saying frequently about how the world is going to be changed, everyone's going to be different, and things won't go back to how they were, I'll be honest, I was quite skeptical. And the reason I was skeptical is because I know a little bit about human nature, and that humans tend to forget. And that was my fear. I had hope, but I was cautious. And I'm so glad to have been so far proven absolutely wrong. Everyone is still behaving wonderfully, wonderfully well. And I know you say shame on me, Alan, but there's a difference between being unkind and being cautious. And as I said, I know what people can be like. We all do it. It's human nature. But I've never been more happy to be so wrong, that it has continued and built up week on, week out. And I will just reference Alan's other comment. Yes, my hair is back, my dear, albeit in small amounts at the moment, but it's certainly a lot longer than it was last week. Anywho, yes, trust. Alan's just commented trust and belief. Yes, I trust in spirit and I believe in spirit and I believe in my brothers and sisters, but I also am well aware what people can be like, because I'm one of them. I'm honest. So anyway, moving swiftly on, it's now over to Shelly Youell for a demonstration of mediumship. It's going to be around about 10 minutes each. We've got plenty of people who want a message, so we'll get people up. But before we bring up your first recipient, my love, would you like to add anything? Because I know you've got, I can see it in your eyes, you've got something bubbling away. So share, dear.
Yeah, I just completely agree with what you're saying with, you know, with this precedented time, or unprecedented, should I say, the impact it has globally. And in lots of ways it's made massive difference and change to humanity, and people are starting to look at their lives differently, how they've been living it. You know, we've all been so busy, we chase our tails, me included, and everybody's been forced to slow down, unless, bless you people, because I won't forget the wonderful key workers, everybody like yourselves, that are having to get up, put yourself at risk every day, not only the NHS, but many people that, you know, people are really looking and appreciating the kindness and selflessness, you know, of everybody who's out there working and doing what they can. And I do really think it is a time of change. and it is a new normal. And yes, you are correct. There is a time where people will go back to maybe the way they were, but I feel that this has had such an impact globally that a lot of people will look at life differently, through hopefully a much more kindness in their eyes and their heart to others, and to bring well, touch other people in that way. And what I love being creative, as I believe everybody is, there's just people have been had to be creative. Everybody has that spark of creative genius in them, and look what people have done to ways of, even a local pub I see has put, it's called the Dog and Doublet, and they've got McDoggy's drive-through, anything that they've used to obviously still be able to work, but in a very sensible way. So to me, I find I've seen much inspiration through this. And as I'm not on forgetting, obviously there's been much sadness too.
Yeah.
And I can't obviously forget that, but that's the importance. But with people, how they've come together in a social distance kind of way, it's been fabulous. I mean, to do this online, to touch the souls and spirit of others, like this. Oh, thank goodness for the internet, really. So,
Yes.
but yeah, very much so. So I agree.
Absolutely. Bless you. And thank you for referencing the fact that apparently I'm now a key worker because I work in a shop. I'll be honest with you, I still struggle with that because it's just it's just my day job, and yes, we're working differently, we're working safely, but realistically for me, I suppose that's why I'm a bit strange in the sense that life really hasn't changed for me. Except that when I've got a 5 o'clock start this morning and a 5 o'clock start tomorrow morning, I haven't got to come all the way back from church to get home. I can just literally turn the laptop off and jump over there and go to sleep. It saves a lot of time and hassle. But I obviously, as well, with it being Mental Health Awareness Week,
Yes.
that is the thing that I have seen the most impact on, especially with the people I work with. People do tend to be a little concerned, and understandably so. But as you say, so long as we look after each other, support one another, and be good to one another, I think everything will be, as you say, good.
Yes,
and for that, and especially for those that have loved and lost in this time, it's even more important to look after one another. So there you go. I did finally get something in. So now, friends, it is time to hand over to this lovely lady and her first recipient of the evening. I will go away, I will be quiet, and I will refill my glass and make a few edits and share some comments as well. So let us bring our first recipient on for the evening. I believe Penny's sitting in the wings. Are you there, Penny?
I'm here.
Hello. Are you all right, my love?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you.
Good. Well, my darling, I am going to leave you to it, and I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Hello, Penny.
Hi, Shelley.
Very
Good
nice
to
to
see
meet you. And you. Soon as your picture come up, I heard Dad. Do you understand Dad's in the spirit world?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because that's what I heard that straight away. I knew I've got a gentleman with me, and then I heard Dad. And I know with this gentleman that he would be quite reserved at times, or rather, he would be observant rather than talking, And I know that's how he comes across. But if he got something to say, he would certainly say it. But I know he was had a very good, sharp, astute eye, if you will. And he takes me to the chest area that I feel, oof, there's problems there. Do you understand this? I can feel a real pressure on my chest. So I feel like either my lungs have got fluid in, or there's the lung capacity wasn't very good. So I know that there's that with him as well. And but there was other problems with Dad. You would understand. I go down to my stomach area, my abdomen as well. Do you understand that, Penny?
Yeah, he was pretty poorly.
Yeah, he was really poorly at the end.
Yeah.
I think
I just know that it wasn't just the lungs; it affected many areas. There was much other areas of the body that was suffering. It's almost like when I go into the abdomen area, it's like his kidneys were probably failing and so on, like that. You don't, yeah, that's so that's where I feel it is. And just to give you more information about him, I know that you he taught you well. He says he taught you well, that you often look at things and how you do things or how you think, and you think, oh my God, that's just my dad. You know, that's so much my dad. And do you understand John as well connected there? I don't know as it's his name. I don't feel it is. But he's saying about a John there in the spirit. You'd understand. I feel a friend of his.
I've
Oh, I
a
can't hear.
friend. Oh, yes.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
not family. I know
Yeah,
makes
go
me
in.
aware that he's met up with a friend in the spirit world. So I know there was a good friendship there, and that was very important to your dad. He was a very loyal man, and he didn't have lots of close friends, but the ones he did, he had for years. You understand this, because that was important to him to have people close. And oh, he's mentioned a Bill there as well. So now he's saying, oh, Bill's here as well. So he's so laid back at times, your dad, very easy to get on with. Once you got to know him and he trusted you, he was very easy to get on with. But I know that he's been observing you, how you're handling a certain situation around you at the moment. And you're looking at ways of how you're dealing with it. It's like, what would dad do? How does dad do that? You know, wonder what he would be thinking. And you understand this, Penny?
Yes.
Yeah. There's certain situations. I'm not saying like particularly negative. I mean, we're obviously all in the lockdown, but you know, he just says you've been looking at things and the changes. There's a lady here that you've been looking after or trying to support. He makes me aware of. Does that make sense to you? It feels like somebody like a neighbour. I don't know why he's bringing that. I feel like there's a neighbour nearby that you've been trying to look after or keeping an eye on, as many of us are doing at the moment. Would you understand Mum's in spirit as well?
Yes, she
Yeah,
is.
because I feel a lady coming in, and I thought, hang on, this isn't Dad telling me this now. Because there's a lady coming in, and she's quite a bit shorter than your dad, isn't she? I don't normally do heights, but she just makes me aware. But she's like a little powerhouse. Does that make sense? You know, she may not be very tall, but you know, she was a very strong lady in her own right. You know, and almost like I feel your dad going, she's like a force to be reckoned with. But I mean that in the lovely way. Do you understand? So I know she didn't mince her words. I know that she would be what you see is what you get with Mum. And it's lovely how they're now coming together, because I feel that they worked very well together. You know, it was a good teamwork. And but he says your mum was the boss, but your mum was the boss. And you understand this, don't you? So I know that they give me that. And I mean, many of our like moms and that have been like the matriarch of the family, but she feels like she was. Do you understand that? She wanted to know that everybody was safe and well, and she wasn't one to be fussed over. But I know there would have been illness there for some time with Mum, but I know she didn't really. She'd rather be the one giving the fuss than receiving it. Do you understand? So she found that really hard. Do you also understand Mum would have had mobility problems and would have had to be in a wheelchair in that latter part before she passed? Not all the time. I just feel that like last couple of weeks or so, she couldn't walk that well. It was too weak, so would have had to go into a wheelchair. Was that a no? Sorry.
Yeah, she was in a hospital bed downstairs.
Right. Okay. Because I know if she had to go anywhere, it'd have to be, like I said, in a wheelchair. Because I know she gives me that sense of she had to be completely looked after. in that last part there. Do you understand that there's a little card? They remind me, you know, you can get where they have, sure it is, like where it has a little verse on it, has mum on it. Looks the size of a credit card. Would you understand having that reminds you of mum, or it was mum's? Because I feel like it's got either, it's pink, I think, or it's got pink on it maybe, and a flower. Does that make sense? Because I know that, and those, you know, you keep it, I don't know whether you still keep it in your handbag or your purse, but I just feel it's close to you often. And you often think of those words of endearment. And I know that she comes with so much love for you, as they do, and her dad does. Of course, dad's still here, but mum's stepping forward more. But I know that she brings those words of endearment to uplift you. Because yes, it has been difficult for many, but there's this time where you've been reflecting, she says, and you've been reflecting on your life and of your loved ones that are now in the spirit world. And it's a time where we always miss them, but you've really been missing them at the moment. And you know, they come close together in such a unity and to bring you that upliftment. And I know we've been blessed with the weather, and you've been either outside where you can be, in the garden, and I just feel that dad comes and stands close there, mum probably too. But there's you've got rose bushes in the garden as well, or a bush of flowers. I'm not always good on the type.
Not but house, but we did in the last house.
Oh, right, okay. Because I just know that they make reference of that and how you nurture the plants and look after them. But you often send thoughts up to mum and dad when you're out in the garden as well, don't you? Because it's like you almost have these conversations with them. And I feel that they've been very much with you in the garden. And I feel that I want to say that you've heard your dad's voice. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, because he just wants to clarify that it was him. Because it's lovely to get evidence this way, but to get your own personal experience is even more magical. And because sometimes I feel like he blows on your face as well, or there's this breeze, and you know, in a place when there's not a breeze, of course. So they're just giving you more to uplift you, that they've been listening in very much around you and supporting you. But I know when I bring back, just to finish, dad just brings about where he says that he was very choosy or selective in a very respectful way, who he let in his close circle. And I know that you're looking at that situation yourself at the moment. And I don't mean that disrespect to anybody. It's just you're looking at what's right for you as your steps forward. And he's very proud that you're doing that, because you know, you're more likely to put other people's needs before yourself. Many of us do, but now you're starting to look at ways of bringing more joy and upliftment in your life, of what nurtures your soul. And he says, well done, you. So on that note, I leave all their love, all their joy with you, and thank you for working with me, Penny.
Lovely, Shelly. Thanks very much.
God bless.
Thank you.
You're right, Penny. Alan, I knew I'd get a response like that from Alan. Well, you two stay on, because I think there'll be time for a message for Alan as well, as he requested so specially. So we'll see you in a bit, guys. See you soon. God bless.
Thank you.
Right, well, I've been working on the technical issues, and I found a solution that will hopefully boost the signal. I've got a bit of wire, and I've got my coat hanger, and I'm being the aerial for everyone.
Wonderful.
So hopefully, if I stand on my bed whilst you're working and wave this about like an absolute lunatic, with any luck, we should get some signal. So fingers crossed. Yes, it does help if you are mad, but it is not a prerequisite of being a spiritualist, I'm told. So moving on, before she nods off completely to sleep, bless her heart, she's had a long day. I'm going to invite Mandy up for her reading from Shelley. She just looked very surprised there, but bless her heart. So welcome everybody onto the platform. Mandy, hello, sweet pea. Turn your
How are
volume up.
you?
There you go. You're right,
Hi,
darling.
Shelley.
Mandy. Hiya. It's
Good, thank
to see you. Good.
And you?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise.
Well, you see, I must have had about half a dozen dreams of people messaging me saying, "Can I have a message from Shelley?"
Oh, and now he disappeared.
He has. I'm back
And my
again.
technical issues. I'm going to go and wave this while you two go and have a message. See you soon. Bye.
Okay.
Bye, bye.
Hello, Mandy. It's
Hi,
nice
Shelley.
to see you.
And you?
Instantly, I've got a lady with me, and I know this lady you would have helped care for in the times of her illness. And I feel that, so I want to say mum, but is mum still here?
No.
Oh, correct me. Sorry, I like to be more specific. But I feel like I want to talk about mum then, because I know that this lady was nurturing. And she didn't actually say mum, but I feel that you would have done your best to help her and care for her in those latter few times. Well, wherever you could, actually, up to the period. But I know the last 2 weeks feels very significant there. Does that make sense to you? And I just, I mean, you've always, because we do as family as a rule, but I just know in those last 2 weeks it become more intense, and you was there more than not. You understand?
Yeah.
And that I know she's extremely grateful for. I know your name's Mandy, but I hear the name Mary. Do you understand Mary in the spirit world that Mum makes reference to?
Not off the top of my head, no.
No, I don't think it's Maria. I thought it was Mary. But anyway,
Okay.
but I know as I've worked with her that's she mentions Mary there. I feel like I want to talk about a friend. It's interesting because I've just done that with the gentleman, but a friend of your mum's, but would have been quite a lot older.
She had quite a few.
Older. Yeah, quite a lot older than her. I feel like 20 years. But anyway, and lived nearby. That's what she kind of given me. But when I work with Mum, because I'd like a bit more about her, she become very, very quiet in those last couple of weeks, didn't she? Before she passed, much quieter, and I feel that I become a little bit more confused as well. Does that make sense as well, Mandy?
It does, but I think you're actually talking about my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay. I know it's somebody who's nurturing and that's close. I didn't hear the word mom, but I knew it was so. But yeah. But you would understand there's confusion, and I know that I went quieter before I passed in those last 2 weeks, quieter and quieter and quieter. And you really did step up to the mark for her, because I feel like I want to call her mum.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So I feel you would refer to her not as her name, but as mum. And you know, and I feel that she took you on board as her own daughter, as her daughter, and you had a wonderful relationship. And not always everybody has that with in-laws, but you did, and you felt very blessed to have two mums in a way, if you like. And I know that that's what she gives to me, and I know my throat feels really sore as well, so I don't know what's going on there, but it's almost like I need to drink more water, and it's not, I don't, but you know, I know there's a big problem going on with my throat here, and that would explain as well why she couldn't get the words out she wanted to, as I'm working with her. But obviously now she's as free as a bird, and as I say, free as a bird, she loved the birds, didn't she?
Did. Yes, she did.
I don't know if she had a bird feeder, just what I call a traditional bird feeder, you know, like the bird table, like a wooden one, but she may have had feeders hanging off it, but I just know she always fed them. She kind of, it was like her pets, but do you understand her having a resident blackbird that she would feed really regularly. Not resident that lived with her, but would visit the garden.
Visit her. Yeah.
Yes. And it was so tame and would
Yes.
come very close to her and would come for quite a long time because she brings
Actually,
that.
that's right. Actually, that blackbird was mine. That used to come to my house,
Right.
and it would come in to be fed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she just brought that memory up when I was talking
Yeah.
about the birds and then and about chatting to them and you know and this resident blackbird, and I think that's fabulous. And you know, and she brings that and she loved them. She was quite knowledgeable about them as well, though, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
And you know, she kind of even knew the bird songs, even
Yeah.
if she didn't know the bird. And I'm not very good at that, but she was very good at that.
She
And
was very good.
you know, she never looked at herself as being a very greatly intelligent academic kind of lady, but actually she was quite full of wisdom.
Yes,
Really.
very much so.
She really was. And some may say general knowledge things, but I mean, not everybody knows that about the birds, but she did.
No.
And she may have been quite green fingered because I feel like I want to go in the garden, and I know I've got quite a lot of knowledge about the plants as well, and as many do, but I know she was again another level. She would remember the fancy names of them as well, wouldn't she?
Some of them she did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 'cause there's some real long names, aren't there? Some of them a bit, but she would know all of that. And sadly, as she become ill, she couldn't enjoy the outdoors. She had to stay indoors.
She did, yeah.
And she wanted to be near the window so she could still see the birds.
All the time.
Yeah. So I can feel the emotion there. As long as
All
I
the
could
time.
see the birds and the flowers. She wasn't bothered about seeing people passing by. She just
No.
wanted to see nature and the birds.
Yeah.
And that would lift her spirit in times of difficulty. And, you know, she was very much a belief in God as well.
Yes.
Because I heard her say I believed in God. I had great strength and faith there, and she would pray.
Yeah.
And you know, she didn't always go to church or of whatever, because I don't know a spiritualist church, but I just know that she would pray at home.
Yeah.
And pray for others. And she always thought that the birds were a messengers from God. Wow.
Yeah.
And she would tell you that
She would.
that there was messengers from God, not just the robin, but the simple sparrow, the blackbird, and all of them. And you often look at the birds, well, you look at them differently now, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Because it reminds you very much of her.
Yeah.
And her wisdom.
Yeah.
And that she goes, let sleeping dogs lie. So she was good with her phrases as well, weren't she?
Very.
You know, the old fashioned phrases.
Yes.
And so, and I know she makes reference to there's a reason behind that. Out of all what she could say, let sleeping dogs lie. And I said, any more? She went, no, we'll leave that one at that because it's not for public ears. Very private lady, isn't she?
Very much so. Very much.
But that would be how she would help you. She would give you a seed, a pearl of wisdom like that, and let you ponder on it.
Yeah. Yes.
She wouldn't tell you what to do. You know, there is
never.
times she would give her opinion, but as a rule, she would stay very neutral, and she would just give you a pearl of wisdom.
Yeah.
And let you think about it.
Yes, she would.
She's a fabulous lady. And actually, in the time you've known her, she taught you a lot.
She did.
Not only about the birds, but about life and about perspective. And she helped you look at different people, really, I want to say, with different perspective and understanding, which helped you immensely. She's a very spiritual lady, but not labelled as a spiritualist, but a very spiritual lady, beautiful. And she had this very much an insight into life. And that's what she keeps bringing up, and the philosophy of life. So I know she was quite philosophical in her own right.
Yeah.
And you've got a book of hers, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
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 And I know it's not one that she particularly has written, but I feel that it's a very inspiring book. Does that make sense? Because
Yes.
she took me from the philosophy to a book of wisdom, if you like, or it's got philosophy in it.
Yeah.
And you treasure it. It's a very simple book in the sense of it's not fancy. It's a very
No.
plain cover,
Yeah.
and it's a hardback, isn't it?
It is,
It
yeah.
feels to me, and a bit worn around the edges. But I know that you hold it dear. And she says you haven't looked at it for a while, and,
No, I
and
haven't.
she said just pick a random page, and you'll get the answer you need. Because
Okay.
you've been sending thoughts not only to her but to the spirit world for some guidance to do with your situations maybe in your life, but also your pathway forward of what's right, because you know there's something more that you're needing to be doing, and I feel that is potentially to do with your spiritual work.
Yeah.
And because you do spiritual work, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah. And sorry, because I thought but I know that she says you'll find many words of wisdom in there, or a paragraph, if you wish, and that will help you to give you the understanding and the answers, just like her pearls of wisdom did.
Thank you, Shelley.
And she will drop you some more. She will give you those pearls of wisdom to help you ponder on. All right. So I leave it up with you. And
thank you very much. Thank you.
Bless you,
Lovely.
Mandy.
Thank you. Bye, Shelley. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, Mandy, I guess my friends and helpers in the world of spirit were right.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a reward, I've got something for you.
Oh, nice. Why are they open?
I might have had a couple. I can't sit on lockdown with a packet of jammy Dodgers and leave it completely sealed for the whole time. But I am saving some.
Okay, thank you very much.
And I'll make some of my gingerbread. Are you listening, Alan? Are you listening, Alan? I'm making gingerbread for when we meet again.
And I said I'd make a sponge or something.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So we've got it all planned. And I just have to say, Richard McDonald's just been on. He's sat in his garden listening to birdsong throughout all of that reading. And I can actually, I don't know whose house it is, but I can hear a very beautiful birdsong in the background here as well.
But
the interesting thing is, I've got my door open.
It didn't start until after you talked about the blackbird. And
he's so noisy.
Around about 47 minutes, if anyone wants to check afterwards. Just more proof. So thank you for coming on, Mandy. We'll say God bless you.
Thank you.
And
lovely to
see you
see
soon.
And you, Shelley. Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Well, from one tradition, that of Jammy Dodgers, to another Littleport spiritualist tradition, before the last message, I don't even need to say it's for the raffle anymore because we've got a new tradition now. Before the last message, we always announce something special as part of our tradition. And I do know that my colleagues are sitting in the waiting room ready to announce the final message. So come on up, Sam and Hannah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Ready?
Bully special prize.
And Bully special prize. Thank you very much, ladies. Good to see you both.
Hello, bye.
You're looking very sunny today, Hannah.
Thanks.
Love you, babe. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Well, indeed it is. Bully's special prize. He did make a special request, and he is sitting all on his lonesome in the kitchen, so has obviously finished his cup of tea. Come on up, Alan.
Hi, Shelly.
Hi, Alan.
Right, well, as is another tradition, I will now disappear downstairs, and I will see you.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, Shelly. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's lovely to see you, and thank you for that wonderful reading earlier. That was very insightful. So I've got to work because I've got a gentleman with me. He makes me know that there's a problem. His cough, or he did have a cough. Let's put it that way. I know I've got one, but that was come with him as he comes forward. I also see a uniform with this gentleman as well, and I've got a breast of medals. So I'm going back. I know the name George is very much connected there with him as well. Was quite a common name, I know back then, but that's the name I get. And I get Ivor or Ivan, something like that as well. But this gentleman makes me aware that he's very proud, he stands tall, and I feel that he would have fought or been in the military, definitely. You would understand this, Alan?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And would I be correct? It would be a family member, because I feel it's somebody like would have been like on your dad's side. Quote me if I'm wrong. But I just know, I'm aware Dad's in spirit as well, isn't he?
Dad is in spirit, but the gentleman you're talking about is grandfather, mother's side.
Right, okay. But I know I'm aware of Dad here as well, you see, so I will bring some information about him. But I want to talk about your grandfather, because he's a real proud man. But I have to say a very humble one at that, you know.
Sure.
And he was humble before he went into the military, the war, but that brought out much more of a greater tolerance, if you like, a greater understanding of people. I can't quite get the words, but I feel very passionate. And how he very respectful. So I'm trying to put it into words what the emotions he's giving me. Because again, he would be a man's man. So to express emotions verbally would not be what he would do. But you would know it of him. But he was a bit stiff upper lipped in a sense, you know. You kept things like that, and that generation didn't they? They kept things like that close to their chest. They didn't express it because it wasn't really accepted then so much from a man. But I know I can feel it there. But I know he takes me to these medals that he's extremely proud of. And do you understand 4 medals there?
I'm not quite sure how many medals. I know he did have a lot.
But I know he takes me to that he's got at least 4, let's put it that way. And I know that he got like 2 stars, would it be? 2 stars? I feel like I want to say like the African or the Pacific Star. So I know he flew overseas. I know he would have fought in the war overseas and not in just in Europe. I feel we go further afield. So I know he did a lot of traveling there when he was in the military. And there's very much strong RAF connections there with him as well, isn't there? You would understand that. I don't know as he was in the RAF, but there's very much a close connection there.
I think he had some real good friends that were in the RAF, but he was in the army. Right,
but I know that there's something very significant. Do you understand connections to Ireland as well, Alan? Because I want to talk about Ireland as well as I'm working with him. So I know there's connections there, and he may have worked over there too. But I know he makes me aware that he travelled all globally, really, to do with military and for the war. And what he saw, he didn't really share much to you all because it was too distressing for him to share. But would you understand that they actually helped people either escape or something like that? It takes me to children, or he helped children. There was overseas.
I can't confirm that, sorry, Shelley, but...
No, that's okay. No, I just know that
make it because he absolutely adored children.
Yeah. So I know that where there was some incidents where he saved children, and that I feel that story would have been shared to a degree, but like I
Yeah.
said, the rest of it he wouldn't have done. I've got to bring Dad to come and say hello because he's waiting patiently, and you would understand that Dad had to become a patient man.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had to become. And I'm not saying he was really overly impatient and things like that, but if he wanted something done, he wanted it done now. Do you
Yeah,
understand it?
I
But in
do.
that last like 18 months of his life, he had to learn the art of patience a
Yeah,
little bit, but not only with others or what he wanted doing, but with himself, because
yes.
he couldn't do things like he could before.
No.
And I know as we get older that's the case, but with Dad that was very hard for Dad because mentally at one stage he just felt so young still, but his
Mm,
body weren't accepting that. You understand that, Alan, don't you? And it was just very difficult for him because he was a doer. I want to get it done and I want to do it now. And he was a
oh,
very much man of, and it sounds a bit generic, but very much a DIY man. You know, he could fix things and mend things, and some things he did successfully and some things he didn't, but he'd always give it a go, you know.
yeah.
And have you got, I feel like I want to go in your garage or shed, storage room, a stall or something of that like that he would have either made or mended. It feels a bit like the size of a milking stool, but I might be very wrong.
Sadly, I haven't got it any longer. It just.
But you understand what I mean, though,
I
don't you?
understand what you mean. Yes, I do.
Yes, because you know you kept it for a long time, though,
Yeah.
and it always made you smile. So I don't know what the story is about it, or it just because it reminded you of Dad, and you know, he says that you've had to um, learn the art of patience too. Do you understand this?
Yeah.
And especially for you in the last few months, maybe year or so, that you've had to also now learn the art of patience. And I'm smiling because he makes me laugh because he finds it quite amusing that, you know, that
Yeah.
you know, that now it's your turn to have to slow
Yeah.
down. But not that there's anything wrong, just slow down. And because you're also a doer, but you know, in that, he gives me this sense that, you know, it's given you the space and the time to do what you need to do.
Yes.
Whereas when before you was rushing around, you missed the little gems.
Yeah.
Do you see? And I don't know whether you do, I know you do the reading on here, but do you do lots of philosophical writing and
No,
words of
I've given
wisdom?
it so many times, but if anybody saw my writing, they just would not be able to read it.
Well, but I just see that you're you know, I mean, we have the computers now, so you can type it up. But, you know, that you're finding that you have to slow down, that you're being able to do things like that. And that is real, where the gold dust is, he says,
Yeah.
it's where this philosophy is really. I know that you're debating sometimes, some you share, some you don't, but he's very proud because it it moves you when you read them. They move you because you know that you've been inspired
Yeah.
not only from your own soul, but there's been times of inspiration from the spirit world, and
Yeah.
those need to be
Yeah.
shared. They're like gems, he keeps
Yeah.
going.
That's.
They're like gems. And he
Yeah.
says, thank you for standing up for me. There was a
All right.
time around his passing that you stood up for him to make sure things were how they should be for Dad. You understand that? And he says,
Mm.
Thanks, son. It feels like it's to do with the hospital or the care of Dad. And I don't know, you made sure that things were how they should be. and I feel that you stood up for him. But it makes me aware of that.
I remember now.
You, after he passed, also that you made sure that everything was put in place just as Dad wished, and his wishes and wants. So I know just before, there's something about getting very firm with with the hospital, or because things weren't quite right, so you wanted a second opinion, or you wanted it.
Yeah, that's,
You understand what I'm saying now? So I want to make sure it's very clear. But then also you understand that you made sure, because I don't know what it was, but before, that after Dad had passed, whether some people weren't quite sticking to Dad's wishes, but you made sure everything was exactly as he wanted, and that is forever grateful for that, and what you've done in his memory, really. And I put my hand on my heart with him, and it's wonderful the two of them have come in together.
Yeah.
And it's with Grandad, he puts the medal on your chest and goes, "Well done."
My granddad.
Well done. And because I know there's a sense of achievement, and you're actually recognizing that yourself now, that sense of achievement.
Yeah.
And you know, that's important. And your dad brings this sense of just enjoy, slower pace, and see what it brings you.
Okay, thank
So
you.
he's not telling me, they're being quite secretive.
Yeah, that's,
It transpires within that space.
yeah.
So you understand. So
Yes,
I leave their love with you, because I know
Okay.
they do bring great love for
And
you.
thank you very much.
Alan. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Cheers, Alan. Hope that was all right. Well, I know that was all right for you. I know you well enough by now.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see you not looking so fuzzy now, dear. Have you got the dogs out the back running in the cage, keeping the wheel turn and get the signal improving, like I've got my aerial hanging up?
No, what we've done is we normally sat in our living room, and our modem is in the kitchen, and we've just moved my laptop to the kitchen. So it's closer to the modem.
Gotcha.
So it seems to have worked.
Yes, definitely so. Well, thank you very much. Stay online, because everyone's coming back up for the closing. Except me. I clicked the wrong button. So yes, everyone's coming back up for the closing prayer. So I'll see you in a bit. But I think it's important to say a big thank you, Shelly Youell, for such a wonderful, not just demonstration of mediumship, but a wonderful proof of survival. And that really, really is what it's all about. And, you know, you and your guides and helpers are just absolutely always on the button, and we're always very, very touched and honoured to have you with us. So thank you ever so much, my babe.
Thank you for inviting me. You know, I always love to come and work with you all. You know that. We've gone back quite a way now.
We do. In actual fact, I was reading a message from you the other day, from back in the day, asking if I would sign something for you.
I remember that.
So that is a few weeks ago.
That is quite some years ago, yeah.
But now I would imagine she's still sitting in the wings, and she's got that ready look about her face. I would imagine that we were going to get a word or three from our principal minister before we depart. So welcoming back, and I won't speak, Reverend Lynn.
Well done, Shelley. That was very lovely. And, you know, we always used to say to our congregations, even if you yourself didn't get a message from a loved one, you know, take comfort from the messages that you saw other people receiving and accepting. And, you know, from their acceptance, you know, get that understanding that your own loved ones may not have been able to shove through the throng who are all waiting to speak to just one medium. You know, I mean, you would have had so many people there, Shelley, I know, who are all trying to get through to send messages out to everybody that's online even, you know, all these people who are giving comments and everything. All their loved ones are there, as you know. And I think it takes quite a lot for a medium to be disciplined enough to ignore them all and actually concentrate on the one person that you can manage to relay messages from. And I know that, as I said, you know, we used to say to our congregations, please take anything you can from the messages that you've heard that have been received and relayed to others, especially the love part, because, you know, it's all done, as we know, on a vibration of love. And it's a golden rule, love each other. And I think that sort of ties up everything that we saw tonight. So thank you very much, Shelley, for serving our church.
Thank you.
And, you know, it's just marvellous to see. And I must say this, that in a private message to our Reverend Nick, I mentioned that I was very aware that Ivy Scott, who is a wonderful, wonderful medium, who I first saw many, many years ago, you know, long time. And she was a fantastic medium. And I saw her with you during that demonstration of mediumship. So I hope that you're, you know, I can tell you a little bit about her, but she was a fantastic, you know, messenger for spirit. And I can see that she totally approves of you and is working there near to you. So
that's lovely to know. Thank you, Lynn.
I've done wrong as well, because they always say, what was the other thing we're always told? Never give anybody their guides. Never give them their guides. Well, I soon got rid of that one. You know, that was a rule and regulation that I threw out of the door. And, you know, so I'm happy to give people their guides when I know that it's that they would like to be remembered to them and to be told. So there you are. And of course, on that note, I can mention that I know that Alan Sutton got his guide as well when I was giving a demonstration. So, you know, you know, if you see guides, which I know you do, Shelley, feel free, won't you, at least when you serve our churches, our New Christian Spiritualist Society churches, to give as many guides as you get.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bless your heart. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Lynn. I'm going to keep you up for the closing prayer, but for the sake of everyone's echoey head, I'm going to do one thing that everyone has ever thought about doing but never could, and I'm going to put you on mute, my love. And I know very well that I'm going to get in big trouble for that. There you go. I'm going to get in big trouble for that. But it is purely and simply because of the echo of my voice rattling round her living room. And I'm sure that'll be driving the dogs completely nuts. And oh no, they're happy with it. That's fine. See, we can still communicate without words, bless her, you know. So everyone that's online, get back up here as we say one big thank you to the lovely, the one and only Shelley Youell. Now it feels like a spiritualist service. Well, friends, let us all join together for our closing prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship, and to indeed do your work, which is to prove that life is eternal and that we all go on for eternity. I would like for a blessing to be placed on each person here present, each person watching, each person who will watch, and each person who wanted to but couldn't. And of course, a blessing on your instrument for this evening, Shelley. May her work, her words, and her wisdom be blessed until we all meet again, which will be in your name. And it is indeed in love, in truth, and in light. Amen.
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 Well, friends, It is the end of the evening, but not the end. We will be back next week with the lovely Alison Aronstead. I'm glad to report that the technical issues that we had with her first week will be null and void because we have this lovely new software. By the way, Shelley, what do you think of the new software?
Very good. Very easy.
It is easier to use, isn't it, than the last time?
Well, it is from my part. I just press on the tap on the link and here I am. So yeah, very good. Yeah.
Almost like mediumship. Tap the link and there you go.
There you go.
Well, friends, thank you all for coming. Once again, a big thank you to you, Shelley. Do stay online if you want to chit chat afterwards. But as my final tradition, as I always say, and he might not be here right now at this very minute because he's at home probably watching, getting the kettle boiled nonetheless. Now is the time to get ready to have a bit of a social chit chat, put the kettle on, because the kitchen is now open. But from all of us here at Littleport, good night, God bless, and may the peace of the Great Spirit go with you all.
Good night. God bless.